All right, so NFTs and traceability. We're talking about supply chain. So I'm going to go into a few different topics of just great use cases that you're going to see. And if you've got brands, if you've got products, if you've got services, services are products too. And to be clear, this is mostly focused B2C. Be creative, and you can also apply these B2B. With the supply chain, we'll be delivering equitable products, which means a lot of things, safe products, and authentic products. This is a problem we have now, and so we're going to see how a little bit of new thinking or technology, doesn't matter, can solve these problems. Let's do it together. If you don't know me, my name's Will. I have a background in engineering and finance. I'm the lead author of ERC 721. Still hustling here all the time, teaching you what it is that we need to know. And who does a keynote and brings a notebook on stage to take questions? All right, so I'm learning too, just like you. But today, I do want to share a couple things about supply chain. Let's get started. But first, let me tell you about this bag. If you'll bear with me, I went to the Louis Vuitton store and I picked up this bag. Couldn't get it in London, couldn't get it in the Philippines, couldn't get it in Ireland, had to get it in Tokyo. Thank God for layovers. And this bag, took it home, took it out of the box, and this is what's in the box. You go to LV to buy a bag, and they just give you this piece of leather and then these papers. And that's it. Oh, and they give you this little card here with a serial number on it, not a serial number, with a QR code on it. And the QR code is not a serial number. This is an embarrassment. I mean, this is terrible. This bag is indistinguishable from a fake bag. Why buy the bag? You're left holding the bag. It's literally a joke. The bag is just not anything better than a piece of leather. And so this is the past. What is the future? Well, we can do this with NFTs. You know me. I tell you, you can do this with NFTs or not NFTs, right? So we're going to write NFTs here. How can we do it with NFTs? I'll show you. The future with NFTs is QR codes with serial numbers in the QR code. Fact, QR codes with serial numbers are NFTs. So you just make a QR code. That actually is an NFT, but we can do NFTs on blockchain too, and that's more fun as well. We'll also have blockchains, and then in the future we'll see blockchain-y things. Things that are very similar to blockchains, but they're managed. Maybe they're run by a brand. Maybe they don't call it a blockchain, maybe what Reddit's doing. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but you can do it on a blockchain, you can do it with an NFT, you can do it with a QR code. This is coming. I'll show you why. Okay, here are the different problems we're going to be solving today. We're going to look at how to authenticate products. We're going to look at product safety, checking it, equity, equitable products, and traceability, finding the thing. We're going to have diagrams. We're going to have templates. This is an advanced class. There was an advanced label on this thing. We're going to have the full palette. I'm going to give you all the tools you need to deliver these solutions. But first, the first thing we can skip is safety. Has nothing to do with traceability. Safety is purely a regulatory thing and a quality issue. So talk to your manufacturing department. That's the only way you can handle safety. Second, we'll talk about authenticating products. Oh, and another thing for free, authentication and traceability are the same thing. So if you can authenticate a product, and what I mean is, when I go to Louis Vuitton to buy a bag, how do I know that it's actually a Louis Vuitton bag? That came from the store. That came from the airport at the Louis Vuitton store, and I still don't know if it's fake or real. Nobody can. It's impossible. This is the same as finding the bag. So that means if you can find the bag, if you can see where the bag is, then you can just see it from the factory to the store. Well, that's the same as authenticating it. They're two totally different use cases, but actually they're the same thing. Let's look at a few different case studies here. I have implemented this type of traceability in luxury goods. So I wanted to just compare these different fields and to see, is it easier, is it harder, what can you be looking forward to? For luxury goods, it's easier. Why? Because the brand is responsible for making the bag, and then you have to go to their store to buy the bag. There's a lot less places for it to fall off the truck, to get copied. There's a lot of things that could go wrong, and those are saved because it's coming from one person. The status quo, if you buy a luxury, who buys luxury bags? Shoes, watches. Wow, watches was the winner. OK. There's more women at NFT events. I was expecting more bags. OK. So the status quo is you can go into the store, not for watches, but for bags, not for shoes yet, and they ask you for your name. They want to register you. They put the date that you got it and what bag you got and where it was and when it was. They put your name. And if you ever want to sell it, you have to go back to that store with the other person and say, OK, take my name off, put their name on. This is a ledger. It's not blockchain. It's slow. It's expensive. It uses gas, real gas. And this is how you do traceability in the luxury goods scene. So it's kind of easier. It's not as convenient. It's easier to set up the system. Let me give you a different system. Authenticating shoes. Now, shoes are a little harder because shoes cost less. And some of these authentication and traceability techniques cost some money. I've spoken with different manufacturers in the mid-range, the mid-market for consumer goods, and I asked the ones that are doing serial numbers on their products. And I'm going to tell you what these things cost. These are all-in costs, labor, equipment, variable costs, for the types of run sizes of the mid-market products you will see. Here is a sticker. So this would be, this is like a hologram. I think I could get a better picture. But it's one of the things you look at it sideways, like, wow, this must be real. There's a hologram inside. They used to do that on credit cards, but they don't care about that anymore. Maybe you still have those. It costs about €1. Now, it's just a sticker on a piece of paper. But remember, there's a sticker. There's a machine that puts that sticker on there. The stickers have got to be secure. You've got to make sure that somebody's making sure that there's not extra stickers being made. All of this adds into the cost. And the average is about €1. Second use case, this will be a QR code. A QR code with a serial number. Not anything with a QR code, not like a UPC label where it's the same. So Metabrew in the house? So Metabrew, they have the UPC code and they have the QR code on the beers, but I believe it's the same QR code on every beer. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about serial number. A serial number on a QR code is an NFT. So managing that, if you're buying the NFT from a service provider, all in, you're looking at €1. Last use case, laser etching and laser engraving. You will see this is a GS1 data matrix code, and this is more popular in Europe, and in Japan and the US, we are always using QR codes. You'll see this a little more in Europe. They'll go back and forth. It'll be a war. They'll fight it out. But this is, and it's also more for B2B, because consumers don't scan GS1 data matrix codes. But implementing this is a lot cheaper because the laser etching, I don't know why I know it's ridiculous, it's a lower price, but the reason why is because the manufacturers that implement this are doing higher runs. So the price is lower per unit. Last is pharma. Pharma is a lot more difficult because their supply chain is directly impacted by regulation. So tracking the things, there's rules about it. There's rules about sourcing. You can't get drugs from here. You can't get active ingredients from here. You have to watch the temperature. All these things add up together. Let me just give you a very oversimplified diagram of traceability in the pharma industry. So there's just a bunch of things I'm not going to tell you. There's a lot of lines, you can see that. Remember, every one of these things, because pharma is so complicated, we've got raw materials, and then it goes into a pill, and then you take the pill for some reason. Every one of these things could be a different country. And every time there's a green line, that's a shipment going across a border with customs and taxes. And they make it complicated on purpose to avoid cost, regulation, tax, and liability. So it's always going to be complicated like this. Oh, and all these arrows, they go both ways. Drugs can be returned through the supply chain, and it gets worse. So I just wanted to show you that this is what the supply chain looks like, much different than luxury. Here's a resume for somebody who works in one of these drug companies and does this type of work. The title is Senior Director, I think at the top, Senior Director of Serialization, Strategy, and Operations. This person works at, I guess it says it there, Bristol Myers Squibb. And OK, so Senior Director just for the strategy of putting the numbers on the things. So that's after 7 years working as a director on the supply chain digitization. All right, so think about how big this is just to get the numbers on the things. I'm not going to tell you how big this company's department is, but you can imagine if they've got senior directors after 7 years of another position, it's quite large. What is the takeaway here? The larger your supply chain is and the more steps you have, the more expensive authentication becomes. Last is equity. Equity is all about the ingredients. Equity is a lot of these new words you're hearing about. We want to remove child labor from the manufacturing of our products. We want to have organic ingredients. We want to remove allergens or know that there's allergens. What's up to food? There's a booth in the back. Food traceability, great. Great use cases. It's all about what is inside of the product. And secret, this makes your product more valuable when you can attest to these things. So let me show you what this looks like. Here is a menu of a restaurant. And this is a fancy restaurant, so they tell you at the bottom, our ingredients are consciously sourced. Only grass-fed, grass-finished beef, antibiotic, hormone-free. They're telling you these things. Okay, and you can expect to pay more at this restaurant because they took up space on the menu to tell you what they're doing. But we can do better. Here is another menu that shows you where the ingredients come from. Our grass-fed beef comes from Little Rock Farm. Our fowl comes from this other farm. Looking at this menu where half of the menu is the ingredients, you know you're going to pay more at this restaurant. You're expecting all the food's going to taste perfect, and even if the food doesn't taste good, you're still going to leave 5-star because you know that they're doing this the right way. So I just wanted to illustrate and show you that these are the things that we need to think about in our products, and these are the ways that we're going to make our products better and cost more. Thank you.
All right. What's up?
I forgot something. There's one more thing. We rehearsed this. That's what that was. Okay, now I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you exactly how to implement this at your company today in this chair using your phone. Get it out. Here's the text message you're going to send to your secretary that's going to increase the cost of your products by 20%. Here's the text message. It's one quick trick. This is magical. So what you do is you call your secretary, because you're here, and when you're manufacturing your product, I'm assuming you've got an engineering team manufacturing a product, right? And you're ISO 9001, right? So that means that you're doing things in lots, you have engineers, you have records on the products that you're making. Any ISO 9001 people in here? No? Because it's 2023. In the future, we'll have more on this stage. This is tracking all of the ingredients into your products, whether you're making a chair or you're making, not the banana or the statue, other packaged products that go in boxes with serial numbers on them, UPCs. They have engineering teams that make them. So what you do is you track the lots. And each time there's a lot, they track the ingredients in the lot. They have the lot number from your manufacturer, and it goes all the way up. You can call them. In fact, this is how they do recalls. They just look at your logs. But you can just take this existing things that your engineers have and put it on your website. And where do you put it? Don't put it on your website.com/traceability. That's boring. Don't put it on your website.com/myengineeringlogs. That's boring. Put it on your website.com/equity. Equity. You need to sell this. The ingredients in your product, no matter where you get them, when you tell people, you make them proud. And you will get better ingredients. You will get better work out of your suppliers. You can tell their story as part of your story. And if you're not proud of their story, do better sourcing. That is what your customer wants. This increases the value of our products. And when the value goes up, you increase your price. There's your 20%. Thank you.